From the shores of Malibu where the waves are pumping, to the Great Wall of China and back to the streets of Las Vegas where the UFC is coming. We are live. This is It's Time Radio, the show where we talk about what you think about but may be afraid to voice. Do not worry, we will voice it for you. We talk about it all, and it's time. It's No Holds Barred Radio, folks. And we're here this week with my co-host, producer, TJ DeSantis. TJ, back from another trip, getting ready to take another trip. God knows when. How's everything on the road, my friend?
Things are good. I'm sitting on the floor in a hotel room, so it's a makeshift studio, but we're getting through it. And the man that is laughing, I mean, I don't need to introduce him, Bruce. Why don't you tell us who's next?
Goldberg.
God, I love that. I can't wait till one of these days, you do that and I come out through the back.
You know what? It would be a real pleasure to walk out on a special event at the WWE. It may make somebody very close to me in my life not too happy, but I think Michael Buffer should always be the one to be in charge when it comes to WWE. But if I get called, it's going to be very hard for me to say no, especially if it involves you, for sure. Anyway, Bill, we've been friends for a long time. Senior career, WCW, making the movie with Warner Brothers, 20 years ago, Bill, 20 years ago. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, you were spearing everybody and their mother back then.
And I still literally am. How about that?
Good. And Bill, I got to tell you, first off, how are you? Let's go that way.
You know what, man? I couldn't be better. I didn't follow Rogan's lead by moving to Austin, but I moved to Texas in the middle of about 200 acres, and it's 406 yards from my balcony to the front door. So I know that I can take care of somebody if they try to break on my property, but it's heaven, man. It truly is.
Yep. Listen, very few people know this, Bill. I was born in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I think I told you this.
Yes, sir.
And I moved to 9 months I was there. It was more of a drop off than anything else. Yeah. And then spent 5 years of my life in Dallas, Texas. Initially 3, back for 2. Learned how to fight, learned how to have fun, learned everything. Texas can be a country unto itself. Yep. I love Texas. Dallas, if it had an ocean, would be literally, aside from being one of the greatest cities in the world, would be like one of the greatest cities in the world for me.
Yeah.
It's amazing down there. And it was amazing to have 22,000 people there at the arena talking to you and shooting the crap with you. And then you come over and you didn't spear me. But you single, I'm like, what the heck is going on here?
First of all, let me apologize for that. But you know me, man. I got to do something different. And you're my buddy, and nobody puts you in a compromising position. And I figured I would. It was just spur of the moment. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'm going to cut to the chase. Did you have in Houston, did you have a dedicated locker room back there to change?
Yeah. Yeah. John Anik and I share the same dressing room.
Yeah, well, I tried to get in there and put one of your jackets on.
Here's the thing. Boy, you're a rascal, Bill. I mean, come on. What was it with you that night? Jeez.
I'm just saying, man.
Let me tell you something, Bill.
It's been a long time, dude. It's been like 10 years. I think Anaheim, when we all got in a fight up in my box, for God's sakes, with some Hell's Angels guys.
Oh, goodness.
Whoa. Can you not drop the story, but can you tell us the story, please?
That was a long time ago. I forgot most of it, but I was in a VIP room. I think it was Hughes and BJ were the main event.
Okay.
If I remember correctly.
You're right. You're right.
And we had a private room, and you know me, I like to stay under the radar. So I'm sitting in the back of the room, not out on the balcony, but in the back of the room watching the monitor. All of a sudden somebody comes, these big heavy guys come in and they make their way to the front. And then my buddy who owns the box comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, these guys came in here. Can you say something to them?" And I turned to him and I said, "You got 4 UFC guys in here and you come to me to say something. Just leave me alone. Let me relax." Very long story short, someone said something to him, and he's about 4.5 feet tall, and he jacked this kid, right? And he drops him, and all of a sudden, all hell broke loose. And I just remember Razor and Tiki in there. They kind of, told this guy through different means that he wasn't welcomed. And then I think I got him in a front headlock or something, and they opened up the door and I threw him outside, and all of a sudden there's a crowd of people and cops everywhere. And I turned around and I think it was who was it? I can't remember. I know Liddell was there.
Oh,
But,
okay. The plot thickens. There we
Talk
go.
about the wrong box to try to go into. My goodness.
100%. Turns out it was a Hell's Angels guy or something, and I don't know
Wow.
what happened. But at the end of the day, it made it a memorable experience for me. But the story goes is that was the last time I was at a UFC, and I mean it's been that long. And if I live 3 hours from Houston, so I get the call from my buddy Richard Wilk. I know you know Richard, and he flew in with Dana, and they hooked us up, and so we were able to go and say hello to some friends that I haven't seen in a very long time, man. So it was an honor and a privilege to get to see you. It's been way too long.
Oh, thanks, Bill. I appreciate it. Absolutely. It was so great to see you too. You walk in, the crowd loves you when you walked in, and you bring back a couple of memories too. And I think about the fact that I'm going to go over a couple of things with you. First off, let me get back to the one leg lift up that I got. What do you call that move? What is that move called, Bill?
I don't know. It was a fireman's carry or something.
Yeah, fireman's carry. Right. Exactly. And I didn't know what you were doing. I thought, where am I going to go? Am I going down to do the table? I'm prepared to take a drop, fall, the whole bit. But it did remind me of one thing. I remember my brother Michael telling me during his last WCW days that I said, Michael, what if they wanted you to take a bump? He did this one commercial with you guys on the subway where somebody kicked him in the face. And of course that's TV, right?
Camera angle.
He said, no, I wouldn't want to take bumps for these guys. I go, I would. I'd love to get in there and get a bump. And and when you picked me up, I thought, man, we could really do something fun.
100%. And you know what? I'm gonna back up a little bit here and say that you brought back a lot of memories, dude. When you're like a fighter prepping for your verbiage, right? When that mic's on, you got to get ready for it. Like an old school guy, you're never gonna see an announcer getting ready, shaking his hands out, throwing jabs and stuff, and just trying to get in the zone. And people have lost that. They really have. And you're a consummate professional, man. And it was an honor to see you working in person again. And it just brought back a lot of cool memories seeing you do what you do, man. So again, hats off to you and what you do.
Thanks, Bill. I appreciate it so much. I know what it's like to bang. I know what it's like to stand toe to toe. I've never been a professional fighter, but honestly, 6 hours sitting down. I turned 64 on Friday. I'm in shape. I'm ready to rock and roll. But still, man, I want to loosen up. You're right. You hit it, Bill. You know it better than anybody. I'm getting in the zone.
Absolutely. People get on me about headbutting the lockers. That's how I get in the zone. Everybody's got their own way of doing it. And people may think it's stupid, but it works for me. So, I mean,
And that zone is really important. As both of you guys are performers, like if you're not in the zone, like why even show up? So you got to do what you need to do to get there.
100%.
I'll say it again. The day that my passion for this job, that I don't get in the zone, that means I'm phoning it in. That means it's time to retire.
Right.
100%.
Done.
Hey, Bill, real quick. Sorry, Bruce. I just wanted to say one thing about Bill. A lot of people obviously know him from his professional wrestling days, but Bill's a real fight fan and a real combat sports athlete in a lot of ways. We're talking about him being at a UFC. But Bill,
where do you think my character came?
100%. And that's even more evident now than ever before, Bill, when you go back and look at tape and then look at modern, mixed martial artists. But I will say this, Bill doesn't only show up for, the biggest MMA promotion when it comes to town. The last time I saw Bill, actually the only time I ever met Bill, was at a small kickboxing event at a casino, Lion Fight. Yeah. And you were there front row and center having a good old time watching Muay Thai.
Well, not only was it 15 minutes from my house back then, but those guys and girls bang. I mean, that is some serious shit, right? Pardon my French, but I mean, that's as real as it gets. And it was right up the road. I knew some people were fighting, and I'm a big fan of Lion Fights. I don't know where they are right now and what's going on with them, but they put on a hell of a local show.
That's one thing I was curious, Bill, when you were, performing in professional wrestling, whether it be WCW or WWE, your character is based in reality. You're a real martial artist. There are some guys that, they're tough. Don't get me wrong in the professional wrestling space, but they don't know what is required in a real life situation. Was that ever hard to sort of manage the ego of other guys that you knew, if shit hit the floor, you were going to be able to just take them out at times?
Well, the caveat to that is that And I dealt with it a lot in the beginning. And I'm not saying guys tried to beat me up. I'm just saying that guys tried to put me in a compromising position because I was very young in the business, and I just didn't know very much. And you got live television going on, and you're following the guy who's leading you in the ring. And a lot of guys would lead me down a bad path. But I had one equalizer, and you know what that is, right? Who wins all the matches? Me. What do I do right before I jackhammer? I spear him. Right.
You get your payback.
My thing was, hey, go ahead, guys, do whatever you want, because number one, I can handle it, and number two, I get the last laugh because I got to spear you, and I tailor the spear, in relation to how they treated me throughout the match. It was that simple, and I think people started to understand that.
They understand it, but I've been in the back because I went to many WCW events managing my brother. That was one of the pleasurable times back then, a great time.
Oh yeah.
And back in those days, I'd be in the back. I won't give anything away, but I'd hear Hulk and Sting talking to each other. The finish, the this, the that. And I don't think I'm giving anything away, Bill. But you guys get hurt a lot, okay? And I remember one show, you did your whole thing, you speared, everything is great, and you came through the curtain. And you went down because your knee was fucked. Okay. You were not in good shape. Excuse my French. What is that, number 13?
Yeah, that's like the fourth time you dropped the F-bomb in 13 years.
When you did that, I thought, you know what? I really realized, and I always had appreciation for you men and women as athletes and everything else, but to see how that worked out, it was unbelievable, Bill. And you're a stud. There's no question.
Well, thank you, brother. I mean, football got me prepped for it. Period.
Oh yeah.
I don't know of many things that are more difficult than playing in the NFL, playing in Division I football. Every 18 seconds you get hit by a car. So fighting's tough. There's no question about it. I don't know. They're two completely separate entities. But once you look at being a professional wrestler back in the day, my peak year, I was on the road 210 days a year.
That's insane.
It's insane. And talk about sitting on the floor in a hotel room. I mean, we were in hotels every night. And granted, comparatively, my upbringing in the wrestling business paled in comparison to these guys traveling everywhere every night. And the caveat to that is you have to be that character every time you step in the ring in a different city. Right. And they don't want to see you limping around, and they don't want to see you with the knee brace on unless it's used in the match. But you have to put all that aside, and once you open that curtain and you go out, you gotta be that guy. So it was a mentality. We all got to be tough. There's no question about that. But some are tougher than others. You just got to suck it up and do your job.
How difficult was it, Bill, when you were the focal point of WCW at the height of the professional wrestling boom, to still be Bill Goldberg, the man, and not the character? Like when you would go out to eat, did you feel like you had to put on the character, the role a little bit to perpetuate that image even in your downtime?
Not really. Unfortunately, a couple times it caught up to me in that I would get so frustrated with the situation because I tried to just be the normal Goldberg out in public.
Right.
It just doesn't work. In that you don't get any space, and hey, all these things I'm greatly appreciative of, that anyone would know who I am, let alone be a fan. But to answer the question, I'm Goldberg 24 hours a day. Right. I truly am.
That's what I was just going to say that, Bill.
Yeah.
What TJ said, I mean, I know you. I said, that's you. Like people say when I go in the octagon, that's me. I might go in a phone booth and come out in the tux, but it's 100%.
So I truly am. And Bruce, this, I'm truly at the antithesis of what people see Goldberg being in his violent rage, but I'm also 100% Goldberg in his violent rage. That's it's an extension of me. It's me magnified. The only way that I could do the wrestling business is to be an extension I truly am. So
that makes a lot of sense.
You know what? It's called you're in character 24 hours a day, but when it comes time for it, you get in character. It's just a difference. It's a different level.
100%.
Different level. It is. 100%. Bill, we deal with fighters. I've been around fighters my whole life, way even before UFC. That's why I understand fighter mentality so well in my boxing and my own personal kickboxing days and all that. But there's a lot of tough characters. Do you remember of course, the Steiner brothers, of course. I mean,
Best
right?
opponents in the world.
Right. And do you remember the girl, Kim Canner, that was
Oh yeah.
Kim's my old girlfriend from many, 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 many years.
Oh my God. Yeah,
I have known Kim since she was 8 years old. When I moved to Malibu, she was my neighbor. And then, later on in life, was later on in life. And then she wound up in the WWE, and we're still best friends. She said in her mind, I said, Kim, who's the toughest ones you know? I mean, I've asked my brother this too. And, she said the Steiner brother. Well, she mentioned you. She did give you kudos, okay? But she said the Steiner brothers were just real. If you don't want to screw with the Steiner brothers, especially the one.
Scotty and I were in a battle royal. He yells at me. I'm extremely young in the business. I don't know what's going on. There are 50 people in the ring. He's right at the ropes. He turns and yells at me, and he goes, "Hit me!" And I was positioned to where I could only throw a jab. And at that point, I wasn't as schooled as I am now as far as pulling punches. And remember the mask that he used to wear?
Oh yeah.
That was because of my left jab. I broke his orbital. And
really?
Yeah. And I obviously didn't do it on purpose. But I dropped down right when it happened. And I'm like, dude, are you okay? And he goes, get the hell off of me. We're on television. So yeah, Steiner Brothers, 100%. Look at Scott when he was dropped straight on top of his head in Japan by Scott Orton. I don't think I've met two tougher individuals in any aspect of my career athletically. I truly, except for Ming. Ming and Barbarian are just of the same cloth. They're just
Ming, really?
a little bit big.
Wow.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I power slammed Ming and dropped him on his head. And I did the same thing. I reached down and I'm like, dude, are you okay? I'm sorry. He's like, brother, get off of me. So yeah, those guys, Ming used to be like a personal bodyguard to the Tongan prince. I mean, he's as gnarly as they come. I would put Ming up against any human being I've ever met.
I've heard that. I've heard a lot of pro wrestlers say that that's the guy you want, backing you in a street fight.
100%.
Wow. Who's the craziest one? Who's like one or two of the just nut jobs in the
well, Scotty Steiner, falls into that respect, but a lot of that is inflammation of, inflammatory buildup of his true character. I mean, he goes overboard a little bit, but craziest, Mankind, he's got to be one of the craziest I've ever met because of the stuff he's done in the ring with the barbed wire and the glass. I mean, that stuff is just, I wouldn't do any of that.
And he's a sweetheart of a human being too. Like, he's just one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
100%. Oh, yeah. It's like the fighters. I mean, Bruce, you talk about being around this business. I mean, I remember watching Joe Charles in
Joe Charles. Geez.
That's a name, man.
In Charlotte, when I played for the Carolina Panthers, right? My only time with the Carolina Panthers, there was a UFC in Charlotte, and I went and I watched him. I think Hackney was still involved. I mean, it was like number 4 or something like that. And I've been friends with these guys, I mean, almost as long as you have. I remember when Josh Barnett was still the babyface assassin, and his first couple times he fought over in Pride, and I was there with the Boombaye deal, and I had a deal with
I announced that, Bill. I announced the Boombaye.
Oh my God!
In Kobe, Japan. Remember the Kobe, Japan?
Was that the one where Fry and LeBanner fought, or the one? Which one was it?
Fedor fought. Young Overeem at 205 fought.
Didn't Lyoto fight Rich Franklin on that one?
That's it. Yeah, I think it was 2003. Not mistaken.
And
Rich Franklin fought. Yes.
Was it Tokyo Dome?
It was in Kobe. Okay, Japan.
I wasn't at that one.
All right, that was another one. But that was Antonio Inoki's Boombaye on New Year's Eve.
Okay,
right.
this will signify it for you. Bob Sapp power bombs Nogueira.
Oh yeah. I think that one's
Remember
2002.
No, Bob Sapp fought on the one I announced too.
You did all of them,
fight?
Bruce.
Did he fight Ernesto?
There were 3 Boombayes, and I think Bruce did all of them.
Wow, I was there. I was there. I was I was in the bathroom when I was supposed to help commentate Fry and LeBanner. and the match started. And by the time I ran from backstage to the front, it was over with. And
let me tell you, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I got a funny story about the after party at this one. The one I did was the night there were 3 MMA events in Japan, and they took like 55% of the TV audience was watching MMA.
Wow.
Yep.
It was incredible. So the after party that we had, I remember, was elaborate. It was Cristal champagne. It was king crab. It was everything up and down. And Fedor, his monster brother, what's his name? TJ
Alexander.
Alexander, yeah.
So Fedor had fought, and there were these 2 redheaded ring card girls that were working the show that night. And you know, me and my usual forte, I go up to say hello, and we're talking, and all of a sudden Fedor walks over to me. And he says something in his language, or he's talking. I didn't quite understand. But then he said, Bruce. Oh, he said something to his brother. And his brother walks over, and he walks over. Fedor takes my arm, puts it in an armbar position. His brother takes my other arm, puts it in an armbar position. And Fedor looks at me and says, Bruce, do we have problem? Right? I'm thinking, oh my God, what's going to go on here, right? And I go, no, Fedor, everything's fine, man. Love you, bro. Good. I like you. And then he says something to his brother, who kind of grunts and lets go of my arm, which meant that Alexander would have broke my arm right there if Fedor said
100%.
Okay.
I think that was kind of his
I
job.
It's kind of his job. So I got Rico Chiapparelli, Franklin, Barnett. They're all in the corner behind me. I walk over. I go, man, do you know what just happened? You almost got, your arms broke. And I go, where the hell were you guys? They go,
Right.
They were watching.
Yeah.
See,
we're over here. That's your problem.
I don't know
There's
if it's
so
a
many
good
stories
thing.
There's so many stories that emanate from that event. Crow Cop invited me to train with him in Croatia, right?
Oh, wow.
Right.
And I shot that one down like instantly. There's no way. Number 2, I pulled. This is a long time ago, so the statute of limitations is over with. So I was at a gentleman's club the night before. The night before it was Coleman. I think it was the night before Randleman knocked Crow Cop out.
Okay.
And I had to pull them out of a club at 3:00 in the morning because they were fighting the next day. It was Coleman, maybe, yeah, possibly, maybe.
Wow.
I don't know. It was Randleman, Coleman, and I can't remember. It might have been Fry with us. I can't remember, but yeah, it was very interesting. I loved the trips over there. It was great.
If that's what you should do to get the results that Randleman got the next day, then a lot of fighters need to start going out more.
100.
You talk about one of the craziest guys to hang out with and party with. Don Fry is one of them.
Absolutely.
Okay. Absolutely one of the wildest characters I ever met in my life.
Yep.
No question.
Yep. They're all from that cloth, except Couture. Randy's, more to himself, but all those guys, man, they were nuts, but they had to be, right?
And that's what you want, right? Like you want your legends of the sport to be legends partying and hanging. Like you want them to be that guy. You want them to be the guy that you want to hang out with.
Here's another one. Nogueira fights Sapp. Sapp power bombs him. Nogueira wins. We come in the locker room. I'm walking in with Sapp's, entourage. And Nogueira's sitting in his locker. And I get side to side with him. And he grabs my arm and he looks at me and he goes, your friend, he tried to kill me. And I'm like, weren't you trying to kill him too? I mean, isn't the point, right? So that was the first time I met Nogueira, and then he opens up a gym in San Diego. 20 years later, I see him there again. But
great people. Most of us thought Nogueira almost broke his neck that night. That was a horrific power bomb.
Yep,
that was crazy. So let's change the subject a little bit because we could talk. We could talk old days of wrestling forever. So many stories, and I love it. The whole thing now going on with the exhibition, boxing, the YouTuber influencers, Logan Paul fighting Mayweather, Anderson Silva fighting Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., other people coming out of the works, not for works, but coming out of the works. Jake Paul just signed a multi-fight deal with Showtime Boxing.
Crazy.
Just announced today.
I saw that. I almost vomited.
Crazy stuff. Floyd Mayweather's company filing a $120 million lawsuit against another promoter where the fight should have been in Dubai. All these things happening, and it makes me think, Bill. I mean, when they come to you and they say
not those specific guys, but other groups have.
So how do you feel about all this? I mean, to me, it's bringing tons of new young eyeballs into the sport of boxing for the classic boxing that we all love and know so well. But I got no problem with it. It's entertainment.
You know, it is. It's a different form of entertainment. You can't look at it as purist by any stretch of the imagination. No. It's the way that the world is right now. Its eyeballs are on it, and all you need is the fans to be invested. Whether they want you to win or want you to lose, you got them. As long as you have them make a decision.
Right.
And what the Paul brothers are doing is making everybody in the world hate them so much that they would pay to see them get their asses kicked. And I got to say,
mostly
I'm one of them.
Mostly Jake.
Yeah.
He's the one that's creating a lot of hate. Jake is creating hate.
Do you respect it, Bill? Because I feel like they're getting what like pro wrestlers call cheap heat. You know what I mean? It's not like there's no real 100%. Art to it.
Well, look at the production of that last event. You know, look at De La Hoya and what happened to him on those interviews and how bad. You know, he worked his entire life to get this resume, and then I think in one night you kind of destroy it by just being a bumbling idiot on the.
Right. All it takes. It's all it
takes. It's delicate, man, and there's no amount of money in the world that can make me ruin, you know, what I've built in my entire life. They're just not, and so I can't say I'm a fan of it, but like McGregor, right? Conor is the best heel in the world, right? Because he makes people want to see someone beat his ass,
right?
And marketing, he's a genius. So is Jake. You know, as much, it's not my cup of tea, and it's not the way I would go about things, but I have to be honest and say that I'm in awe of his business acumen, correct? Because he's putting a lot of dollars in his pocket. He doesn't care what people think. And, you know, more power to him. But would I want to be a part of it? And not necessarily, no. I mean, 20 years ago, when I wasn't 54 years old, you know, I think it would have been awesome. I mean, when I worked for Glory, I was seriously considering doing an exhibition there. You know, Sean Merriman or something like that, some legitimate athlete who has, you know, a little bit of a background in kickboxing or Muay Thai or whatever it is. But I'm past the point, I think, maybe of doing that. My problem now is if I throw a right hand, I'm not worried about what it does to the person. I'm worried about me breaking my hand and throwing my shoulder out now. So, I mean, so many injuries, I'm concentrating on keeping myself put together.
You got to train now like I train now. I used to train to compete. Now I train to get older.
I train not to get older, but I train to be able to function. Truly.
Well, I mean, stay healthy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I want to be able to lift my arm up and scratch my head without doing this, right? You know, so I've worked very hard over the past number of years. I got a horrible shoulder. You know, it's just every time I move it, it's unbelievable. But I've gotten to the point where, you know, I've backed my training off. I've changed the type of training that I do, and you know, it's more rehab than anything.
So what you're saying, Bill, is you still have a puncher's chance.
Yes,
I knew that's where we were going. I knew it,
Bill.
Buffer.
No, this is my new bourbon, Bill. I forgot to tell you about. Yeah, I came out with Puncher's Chance last year. It's the highest rated, fastest selling new bourbon in America.
Awesome.
And it's all about the underdog. It's all about you, Bill. I made this for the fighters.
I need some.
No, I want to do. Will you do me a favor? Will you, if you have my number, text me your address?
Yes, sir.
Or TJ, let me get a bottle sent out to you.
That would be fantastic.
And try it. If you like it, send me a picture. Okay.
100%.
Yeah, but you're gonna love this. We just won the gold medal at the San Francisco Tasting Awards.
That is awesome.
It's awesome. We got a 95% rating from the liquor board, and it's the neck of the bourbon god. So I want to send you some. Send me an address.
I'm all over it, Mr. Buffer. Thank you so much.
Oh, you got it. You got it.
I think we got to let Bill get out of here. He's got places to be and people to see.
Yeah, I knew you wanted to do happy wife, happy life, Bill. So you better get your food.
Especially one that's a stunt woman and knows how to weld, right? So I probably wake up in the morning and she was pissed off.
No, she's a mate. She could knock you out, DJ. Trust me.
I don't want to test that. No, thank you.
100%. It's an honor and a privilege, dude, just to see you again.
It's incredible.
Really.
It brings back so many memories. Did you guys have any children?
Oh yeah, I got a 15-year-old boy, which was the why we moved out here to Texas. He was going into ninth grade, and it was time for him to. It was time for us to steer the focus towards him and his 4 years in high school, and so I thought it was the best place to move. Bringing him to Texas, he's a big baseball and football player, and I figured if there was any place for him to further his career and chase his dream, it'd be here.
Awesome. Bill, I'm so happy for you. I'm being repetitive, brought back so many memories. By the way, Michael says hello, sends you his best.
Please give him my best, man. I love you guys to death. You bring nothing but great memories, and in the business, well, especially MMA and martial arts is completely different than MMA. I mean, we know that, but there are a few people in the world that you really call your friends and that you really love, to the end of the earth. You're one of them, buddy boy. And it was wonderful to be able to get a hold of you, see you again, and hoist you up above my head. I love your brother to death, man. And I cherish every moment together. And before I get off of here, I would be remiss in not saying that, number one, hanging out with Sarah the first time during those fights was pretty entertaining. But
right.
Giga Chikadze, this kid is absolutely, I mean, he's a mensch, right? He's I don't even know how to describe it. This kid, people need to learn more about this kid and what he's gone through and what he stands for and actually who he is, because I remember him at Glory 5 days after, and this is on Instagram, he posted it 5 days after he came into the country, right? And he goes and he fights for Glory, and I don't even remember what happened, but I went to the locker room afterwards and I put my arms around the kid, and you just know, not only because of talent grows on trees, right?
Yeah.
But this kid had it inside. He had it inside his heart, and he was doing it all for the right reasons. And he was very honorable family guy. And I told him, and he's got the video. I was like, man, you know what? One of these days you are going to be the man. You just be patient and you're going to be the man. I never thought it would be an MMA. I really didn't. I thought it was going to be in kickboxing, but to be able to make that transition and be who he is today and what he did to Cub, a couple weeks ago, man, Cub's a tough kid, man. And I just hope for the best for this guy. There's a couple. And what was the guy in the co-main event that beat Ferguson? How do you pronounce his name properly?
Beneil Dariush.
Beneil. We were in the locker room. That obviously is the reason why Giga was there. He's supporting him, his teammate. And, he's another guy that's just salt of the earth, just wonderful people. And you can't help but to root for guys like that, to see them both, win. It's wonderful.
Absolutely. You're completely correct. And we get back to, I don't want to compare them to the Jake Pauls of this world, but to me, class is class, right?
100%.
And Beneil Dariush, he's there with his wife. He's the soft-spoken warrior who delivers every time. Yeah. And I always say, and TJ knows I say this all the time, maybe I've said the F-bomb 13 times on the show in 13 years, maybe once a year. But I could sell a fight. I could sell something without even saying a curse word. And if I say the F-bomb one time, it's because I really mean it.
Absolutely.
When you say it too much, there's a way to sell and a way not. And people, I got to be like this. No, there's ways to sell, but class is class. And I truly appreciate class. And I understand the whole attitude of everybody else in the game. But that's not the game the way I would play it personally. But it's in the game that we play,
See why we see eye to eye?
Yeah, of course. No problem. Well, no, you're about 3 inches taller than me. We see eye to eye.
No, I've been hitting the head with too many chairs. I'm 6 foot now, so it dropped me down about 3.5 inches.
I think I lost a half inch over the years myself, Bill.
That's jumping around all the time.
Exactly. Spine takes a little thing, whatever.
Trust
Bill, let you go. I love you, bro. It's great to see you. I hope to see you again. I want to go back to Texas every chance we get. I love the state so much, but much love to you. Your wife, family, and nothing but big cheers, no fears forever. And I'm going to get Puncher's Chance over to you. So get us an address and I'll get it to you.
Thank you, buddy. It's always an honor and a privilege, man. Good to see you again. It's been way too long. I promise you it won't be this long between the next time we see each other. And
you come to LA, you drop me a note. We'll hit dinner.
You got it, buddy boy. Y'all be well. It was an honor and a privilege. Anytime you need me, you know where to find me.
Thanks, Bill.
Thanks, Bill. Take care, brother.
Take care,
Bye-bye
gentlemen.
now.
Y'all have a wonderful day.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
There he is, Bill Goldberg, one of the best.
Man, one of the best. Fun. I have so much respect for, the sport of entertainment wrestling, or however we want to call it. But if that little interview we had doesn't kind of give you a little idea how tough these guys are, they are. I mean, 210 days on the road. That you got to be
Right.
tough alone just to do that.
No,
Just
100%.
do
I
that.
mean, let's take all the physical, actual, bumping out of it just to get into that many different beds on the road, different hotels, not being able to train properly, sacrificing the type of food that you want to eat when you're, trying to keep yourself in the best shape possible. It is a grind unlike any other. And that's where I think that these men and women that are, in that industry really earn the respect. Just getting from one town to the next and trying to maintain a normal life is beyond difficult.
It's beyond difficult. So much respect to that. But he's a true dude. He's he's in the world of entertainment, but like we said, that is Goldberg. That
No,
is
100%.
Goldberg.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that was, an icon of his era for so many
big time.
reasons. And he's still just a genuine dude that you can sit down and have a honest to goodness conversation with. And, there are a lot of people in that business, Bruce, that, I mean, this better than anyone, that they seem to lose who they are along the way. And maybe that's because their character is not necessarily who they are as people, but you can see people that spend maybe a little too much time living in a reality that is just not a reality.
Yeah. Absolutely. Diamond Dallas Page, he's one of those real guys, doing his yoga and everything after. He's always been a straight shooter. Terry, Hulk Hogan, Terry's always been super cool. Probably one of the greatest interviewers in the history of the wrestling.
One of the most
genre.
charismatic people you'll ever meet in your life.
Totally. But just so cool when you meet him in person. And of course, who else other than Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson? I mean, I've known Dwayne for off and on for years. When I see him, he's
the biggest star in the world right now, Bruce. I mean, not just pro wrestling. He's the biggest star in the world right now.
No question. Releasing products left and right, doing what he's doing. So listen, they're capitalizing. They're living good lives. They're being role models in their own right to their fan base. So more power to him, man. More power to him. All good. I love seeing it. Let's go on to some news and stuff here. It was great having Bill on the show. It really was. And if he sends you the address for me, make sure I get that. I want to.
Yeah, I will. I will definitely get that and pass it along.
Okay. Last week we launched the millions.co. I talked about it last week on the show. Everybody check out millions.co, especially if you're a boxer, kickboxer, Muay Thai fighter in the fighting sports. It has taken off, TJ.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, it's a success. Even the t-shirts that I put out for sale last week, I'm getting pinged every day, people buying the shirts. That's fine for me. I love the fact that the young guys I mentioned with the 200, 2,000 or 20,000 or more followers or whatever are having a chance to monetize and brand themselves. And again, if you're a professional or semi-pro or even an amateur, go to millions.co and check it out. And let us show you how to brand, market, and make money aside from when you put your blood, sweat, and tears on the line in the ring or the cage. And we're going to be expanding. We're going to expand this out to volleyball, tennis, surfing, every sport. Slowly but surely, I'm going to make sure this goes out to every athlete in the world.
I'm curious if you ever plan on reaching out to people that are not necessarily athletes, but have, online followings. And
Absolutely. People like yourself, TJ. People like John.
I don't have online followings.
No, yes, you do. You just don't market yourself as much as
See, I need
you
millions. There you go.
Yes, you need millions.
I've already figured it out. I'm the target market here.
I got it
apparently.
figured out. Give me time. We're in a sort of semi-beta testing launching mode right now, working out very few little kinks. But yeah, I mean, whether you're Michael Bisping or whether you're whatever, I mean, you work for a company and you get a deal, let's say with an MMA promotion, a Bellator or whatever, they sell a t-shirt. You're lucky if you get 10% of the profits. Right? We're getting back like up to 80%. Okay.
Right. I mean,
so
and
aside from all that,
that's a no-brainer for me, Bruce. Sorry, honestly, it's a no-brainer. 80%? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, no-brainer. No-brainer. That's of the profits. Okay, we still got to pay for the shirt.
But still, it doesn't matter. 80%. You know what I mean? Like that's unheard of in this space.
It is. As a matter of fact, I announced it on Instagram, but on June 6th, let me make sure it's June 6th. I'm going to have my first Ask Me Anything session on, let me see here. Yeah, about the UFC pay-per-view 263.
Okay.
That week, follow me on Instagram. I'm going to have the Ask Me Anything session where you pay a small fee to join, and I answer questions and everything else and talk. And that's what the athletes can do too. So their fan base can even have a fight companion show with them watching the UFC, and they can pay a tiny little bit of coin to watch it with their favorite fighter.
Hey, I got a question for you. A lot of people are using that term fight companion. Joe Rogan's a person that coined that. It's his podcast, but everyone says, oh, we're doing a fight companion. Can Rogan trademark that? Because you can't say that because like you can't say like, oh, I'm doing it. It's time when you mean a podcast, because that's this podcast. But people say, oh, I'm doing a fight companion. Well, you're not, because Joe Rogan's not there.
Well, let me say two ways. Notice when I said it's like a fight companion.
I understand.
When people say they're doing a fight companion.
But what I'm saying, Bruce, though, is people are not making that distinction when they're
calling it.
Correct.
The way to stop it is Joe can check with a trademark attorney or a copyright attorney and see what he can do with it. And if he does it, then boom, you can't call a fight companion if he gets that trademark.
Or Bruce Buffer could go get that trademark and then license it to Joe Rogan.
Yeah, but see, you have to show usage in America.
All right.
Right.
Let's start the show then. Usage.
Well, one time, like in the past, when we were trying to trademark Michael and we did Iron Mike, and came back that Mike Ditka and it was called Iron Mike all that time, and it prevented the trademarking.
Oh,
we wanted to put it into effect. So once you show usage, even the trademark board, as popular as Joe is,
right,
may recognize fight companion. They may bring that up. So
that makes a lot of sense
until you try.
One thing that
I'm not a copycat.
One thing I was going to, I understand that, Bruce, but one thing that I am sort of interested in, I watched a documentary about it, is these patent trolls, and somebody sued Adam Carolla for violating his patent of releasing an episodical podcast. Think about that. That's what we do. That's what everyone does. Right. I believe that patent troll was defeated, but think about the idea that someone can patent releasing audio on a week-to-week basis. Like, that's insane to me.
Well, that also reminds me of when I told you that with YouTube, when you see buffering on it,
right?
I tried to trademark that. Okay, I was going to sell it back to YouTube, so I was pulling a thing, but I felt more comfortable because of buffering. I thought maybe I could get it,
right?
And I could make some money out of it, or at least lock it in. And I didn't get it. I couldn't get it.
I mean, I admire the hustle.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm all about. Hustle and bustle, baby.
That's right.
Don't wait for things to happen, folks. Make them happen. That's why you want to check out millions.co, and you'll find out this is 30 to 40 years of branding experience on my part, my co-partner founders in the company, the experience they have. Take advantage of the experience, and let's take you on to a right track as you move forward with your careers. Listen, crypto is tanking.
Yeah. I mean, it's volatile. Like we've talked about this. I think you have to think about the crypto market more as something that one day is more like a week. So if you think about it, if you trade based on the idea that you're not going to put your money into it for more than maybe 4 or 5 days at a time, there's still money to be made. But if you're thinking about it as a longer term investment, then you should just go the stock market rather than the crypto market.
Yeah, it's just extremely volatile. Right now, it's at a point where you might think it's worth investing in. But one thing I learned yesterday, we all know that Elon Musk stopped taking Bitcoin for the Tesla sales.
Right.
But then I found out yesterday, and I don't, again, quite understand this, but the crypto is not climate friendly.
Well, yeah. So the mining that requires
what is this mining? This is what I don't get.
Okay, so to create a Bitcoin, you have to mine it, meaning your computer is hooked up to the internet, and it is basically given a chain of really advanced math, and it needs to solve the sort of equation to actually get to the answer to where it can then claim the coin. The computers that do that require a lot of electricity. They're very powerful machines to actually get to the end of the math problem. And I mean, I believe it costs roughly something like between $4,000 and $5,000 to mine one Bitcoin, which is a lot. But when you think about Bitcoin trading at, I think 40,000 right now, that's a huge profit, but we're environmentally conscious at this point. So when anybody is talking about the amount of electricity or the things that make electricity, those are finite resources. Excuse me. And that's what Elon Musk is saying is, we're supporting a coin that is, detrimental to natural resources.
Yeah. It still seems like there's a few key people in this world, whether there's Cuban or Musk, that can control the market, that can manipulate the market. That's my
well, yeah, but I mean, I think that's a problem that's not going to go away as long as we have social networks, Bruce, where people have their platform 24 hours a day. I don't think you can ever stop that. And the question then becomes, what is market manipulation? If someone like Elon Musk says, I support, Dogecoin, is that manipulating the market or is that freedom of speech?
It's like me saying I drink Puncher's Chance. Okay. It's the same thing.
Right.
And then you've got like in the stock market, there was a man, I'm sorry, I don't think he's still not Greenspan. He all he had to do was open his mouth, and the market either went up or down.
Right.
Listen, you got power, you got power. You want to speak, you speak. It's, the bottom line is buyer beware, buyer have knowledge. It's up to you as an individual, make your own decision.
The problem though, is if you're an influential person, is the cost or I guess price of that being that you have to be careful with your own freedoms. I would hate to think that because people respect me to a certain degree about something, that if I say something and then we see a direct market shift because I said something, that I'm going to have, the feds at my door going, look, this is collusion. You're, dictating the price of things. This is illegal. Like, that's not fair.
Right. I'm with you all the way. We'll see what happens. Again, volatile. We're going to read about it.
Yeah. I mean, again, just if don't buy at the highest price. And if you do buy at a pretty high price, be prepared to lose some money before you make some money.
And diversify, put a little here, a little there, a little everywhere, but make sure you have cash on hand. I think the key thing, you should always have 6 to 12 months of bill paying cash on hand. Your bottom line costs a month. Always think about that, folks. Always have 6 to 12 months if you can in the bank, and invest beyond that. You need to have your safety zone. Just a little recommendation from whatever you call me, TJ,
Uncle Bruce,
or whatever.
Uncle Bruce.
All right, let's talk here. One thing, we're going to sign off here in a second, but we talk about the trading cards and everything, how volatile it is. There's a Babe Ruth card about to set a new world record. That's part of a baseball collection that's valued at $20 million. I mean, we're going to see what this is going to go for. One card.
Do they have any idea of how many of these cards are in circulation today, or where they are?
We'd have to bring our resident professional Dan Wolken back on to ask that question, because I cannot answer that. But
because to me, Bruce, I got to think that it's there's got to be single digit numbers to be worth that much money.
Well, yeah, there could be. I mean, this is a Gaudi card, which Dan showed us on the air. He showed us this card. They expected to break the $5.2 million record. Okay. And it's a PSA graded 9. And Dan, like he told us, PSA is getting so hit with so many people wanting to grade cards that it could take 6 to 12 months. He managed to get a bunch of mine, and I mentioned on the show recently, and I'll have him back in a few months. But this is an entire collection worth $20 million, and it belongs to a doctor who died from COVID-19. He left it to his family, and they're the ones that are putting it on the market. So strangely enough that happened. Target, speaking of cards, Target had violent outbreaks at its stores on the rush for Pokemon and sport cards. As a result, Target is temporarily stopping selling Pokemon and sports trading cards in the stores because they're worried about safety concerns of people in the stores jamming to get the cards.
That's interesting to me. So when I was literally like a kid, a child, I played Magic the Gathering, and Magic cards were highly collectible, very expensive. To this date, some of the cards that I had are very expensive online. But Target, even though they sold Magic cards, they did not sell packs or complete sets or boxes that were of high level collectability. You had to go to a specialty store for that. Maybe that has changed now with the market, but as far as I can remember, Target really never carried those highly sought after collectible items.
Well, not highly sought after, but what happened is because of the modern day cards being released, like the Charizard Pokemon card, which I'm sorry, I don't know what the Charizard Pokemon card, but the number I bid for was It just sold for $360,000.
Right, but that's a card that came out like 15 years ago. That's not a new one.
But when the cards sell like that, the young or the old or whatever, they'll rush thinking,
right, but
people are doing the breaking open now where they do the card breaks, right?
I still don't know, though, if those are the cards that are at Target, Bruce. I think they might be running out and getting crazy about very common cards and packs that are not going to yield them anything that they think it's going to.
But it's because what I'm basically trying to say, which I know you have, is that the cards will still be online available at the Target through their online sources.
Yeah.
But it's just the fact that there's so much happening with all this talk, like we talk on the show about how valuable these cards are becoming. And, even recent Panini Cars, which made the UFC cards that have cards for braiding and stuff selling for, hundreds of thousands or $1 million+ like LeBron James.
You're not buying those at Target.
No, but they're modern day cards in the Panini modern day cards. So people think, okay, the value's there. The same rush happened back in 92 when I started collecting cards, and I avoided the modern day cards because there was just so much paper. They just didn't have the value, but now they're coming out. Anyway, like I say, collect properly. Here's another area too, TJ. Kurt Cobain, died,
of course,
20 years ago.
1994.
A few strands of his hair just sold for $14,145. Just
I don't care who you are. I don't want to buy your hair.
No, 6 strands of his hair. There are people out there that will buy anything and everything. One last.
Would you want to own a biological piece of another human being? That's weird to me, Bruce.
No, it doesn't interest me whatsoever. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. It just doesn't interest me.
It's just weird to me. Like, I'm fine. I guess different strokes for different folks, but yeah, I don't.
Mean, if people want to buy my tuxedos and my fight cards, like they come after me for them, maybe every time I get a haircut, maybe I should have put it all in an envelope for when I die.
No, Bruce, don't do that. You wouldn't feel weird if someone owned some of your hair.
Not interested. I have no interest.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes. I would feel really weird.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I mean, I get it, but they're not going to get it. How's that?
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
There you go. Hey, another surfer got nailed in Australia. Great white shark right in the water. 59-year-old man trying to catch waves at Tuncurry Beach. Shark lashed onto his leg. They couldn't revive him. He died on the beach. 13-footer. They're out there.
It's tragic. It's tragic. But still, every time I hear about that, Bruce, I still think that about what you've said. Like, you wouldn't be opposed to going that way, like going out there and doing what you love. And if Mother Nature takes you, you're somewhat at peace with that idea.
As long as I don't go before my mom. That's all
right.
I say.
Of course.
As long as that doesn't happen. Otherwise, I'm prepared for anything and live every day. This is an example. Live every day to the max, man. Live every day to the max. And with that being said, tell us what's up, and let's tell everybody to live every day to the max. So we're back next week.
Yes. Coming up Friday night. So probably today, as most people will hear this, I am going to be on the call for Invicta Fighting Championships. They make their debut on Access TV tonight. Exciting fight card, which is headlined by a championship doubleheader, flyweight title on the line between Mexico's Karina Rodriguez and Brazil's Diana Torquato, and the atomweight championship of the world will be on the line when Alicia Zapatella takes on Jessica Del Boni. So hopefully people will tune in. Technically, Bruce, my network television debut in North America tonight.
Oh, see, TJ, the evolutionary process of your career just in the last few years is beautiful, and it's just going to get more and more and more. I mean, you've got your UFC show on Saturday nights, you got this, you got that. It's all coming together, TJ.
It's taken 22 years, Buff, this June.
I'm going to show you how to speed up the process once we can get you into millions.co.
All right.
I know I'm plugging, but I'm telling you,
hey,
this is my dream. This is what I want to do.
If it works, it works.
Yeah, and it works. Trust me, it works. Speaking of working, I'm going to be in the Octagon this weekend for the Rob Font Cody Garbrandt main event at the UFC Fight Night. It's going to be great to see Cody back. It's been how long, TJ? 2 years? How long?
Has it been that long? Time flies, Bruce. So I'm never surprised anymore when people say it's been a year or two. It's been a while. I definitely feel like it's been a while since we've seen Cody, but I don't know how long.
Well, it's going to be. Here's my thing. My birthday's Friday. We talked about this before. I just had a wonderful evening last night with a very close friend of mine. Took me out to dinner to start my birthday process. My family today, we're going to spend time. But tomorrow, I'm going to have a little cupcake with a candle sitting in the wonderful Holiday Inn in Vegas in quarantine and playing online poker and doing my fight cards. And That's my birthday. That's why I say celebrate your birthday a week before to a week after. Me, I celebrate every day I wake up. I think it's my birthday. So,
Hey, at least we know Brian is safe when you're quarantined on your birthday and no one's throwing you a surprise party.
yeah, exactly.
You remember that? You almost killed your brother right in front of me.
I know. Sorry about that. It's my natural street reaction. Sorry, Brian. Well, I don't know about killing Brian. Brian's not the guy that's going to be easy to kill. Let me tell you that much, or easy to beat for sure. But it would have been interesting. Put that on YouTube, influencers.
Right. No, the buffer rumble, apparently. Well, that might have to need Michael. I don't know.
That's right. Michael can announce it.
All right. There you go.
And then I'm going to be out for 2 weeks. I'm going to take a birthday vacation next weekend. And
you deserve it.
Yeah. Can't wait. Not going to say where I'm going because I want to be totally private, enjoy myself. And that's it. I'm looking forward to a really fun weekend, a really fun week. TJ, it's been great having Bill on the show and another good show.
He's awesome. He's such a great dude.
Oh, I didn't tell you, but also the LA sheriff, Alex Villanueva. We just got okay. I got a coordinator. It looks like we're going to be having him on the show.
Cool. That's great.
And we'll talk about a lot of good stuff with him. So with that being said, everybody, I will see you from the Octagon on Saturday. Have a great week. TJ, have a great week. Everybody, make sure you set your goals, write them down. We're all about winning on the show. So when you set on that path, you do the best you can, be the best you can be, whether you're 1 second to whatever. The bottom line is inside, you know, you're being the best you can be. That means you're winning. So let's go out and win. See you next week. Buffer out. Big cheers. No fears. Don't forget to take your puncher's chance.